I also started uploading videos again. And I've gotten quite a few questions on what my current list is. So this is the list that I've been playing. There is one change that I would like to make. I just haven't figured out what I'm going to do with it yet, though. So the core list, it goes back to the old Black Green Lantern days of 2014, 2015, before Whir came out. And originally I wasn't running Opal then either. And again, we're not running Opal. Um, so a lot of this is very, very similar to the original Black Green list. Um, Still the four Mishra's Baubles, four Shredders, four Lanterns, four Bridge, and then four Inquisition. Well, I'll go in. You do get a lot of questions on the baubles, why I run them. A lot of that is because it allows us to filter draws, and a lot of times all we need, the original game plan on this is we run 7 discard spells and looking at the opponent's hand, hopefully on turn 1, in order to take the single card that could stop us from locking the opponent out. Um, so we try to take that card, whatever the threat is, or the answer, or whatever they have is, and then immediately from there try to hopefully turn 2 play the lantern lock with either a lantern and shredder, or a lantern and a bell, or a lantern and pixis. And then it's controlling both of our draws, the opponent's draw and our draw, well enough so that we land a bridge before we die, or we land an answer to whatever they have before they die. And we have additional discard spells as we're playing along with that to pull whatever cards we need out of their hand. Um, so the bauble helps with that because we don't always get the lantern early, but we do get usually a shredder or a bell or a pixis pretty quick, because we're running 7 of them. We're more than likely going to have a mill rock in our opening hand. Um, So this way we can turn 1 discard, turn 2 play a pseudo lantern lock with the bauble and a shredder or a bauble bell, bauble pixis, and then that lets us dig into the lantern and or bridge. Um, so the game plan is still basically that: turn 1 discard, hopefully turn 2 some sort of lantern lock, and then turn 3 preferably a bridge, one of the 4 bridges. To supplement this, of course, we have our stirrings to try to dig for whatever we need. We still use needles because, like the original game plan, we want to use 1 card of ours to shut off multiple cards of theirs, and then it's a lot easier to keep them off of anything dangerous and allow whatever to slip through. So, like if we have a bridge, we can let creatures slip through because they don't matter anymore, and it's a lot easier to keep them off of what actually are threats. Um, let's see. I did start running one elixir as well. That helps tremendously with the life gain, and it's pretty good against the mill decks. It's just a single card that works against both of those. So it's quite useful, and it helps make sure that if we don't get an Academy Ruins, or for some reason our Ruins is dead, we'll more than likely outlast the opponent as far as cards in deck. We just keep cycling that elixir over and over and over, and eventually the opponent will mill out. Additional support here is with the Assassin's Trophy to take out whatever we need. So a lot of times I use those to take out a Karn the Great Creator, or whatever other specific card we need to take care of. Usually it's something that a needle or a bridge can't answer. It's all around relatively useful. It does allow us to take them off of specific colored mana sometimes, although that's a lot harder these days now that all 10 fetches are in Modern. Um, Additionally, I run 1 Soul Guide Lantern and 1 Underworld Cookbook. Underworld Cookbook completely turned the burn matchup around. Now every single card that we draw is an anti-lightning bolt, which makes it very, very difficult for the opponent to keep up with that burn. So a lot of times just a bridge and a cookbook is enough to shut out burn. And having the lantern lock does still help, and the discard to take burn out of their hand, but it helps tremendously. And the cookbook does also make it so that if we don't get a bridge or for some reason bridge doesn't work, we can kill the opponent with Urza Saga tokens now. And then, of course, like I said, the Soul Guide Lantern is good as a singleton in order to shut down graveyard strategies, just one in the main. And if it's not useful, we can just cantrip it. Um, Other notable inclusions, aside from the Urza Saga, is Mycosynth Gardens. I'm running two of those. Now, I'm only running two because they don't give us turn one black mana, which would be kind of troublesome there. I could understand if maybe the mana base could use a little bit of a tweaking because turn one discard is so extremely important, um, or at least early discard. However, Mycosynth Gardens it has proven extremely useful in being able. I've done many things with it, from copying a bridge in response to removal, copying a Soul Guide Lantern so that I have multiple ways to exile an opponent's graveyard in one go, or copying one of our other mini cards that that the opponent might be trying to kill, like a Shredder or a Lantern. And we can even copy a Mishra's Bauble if we have to. Um, and of course, it copies a lot of the artifacts that we have in this sideboard. The Urza Saga is a definite bonus to the deck. I think it's one of the best things to happen to the deck since Whir. Unfortunately, I don't know how. I have seen some 5.0 lists with Whir in it. However, I think that Whir is a lot weaker without the Opal because it's harder to hit that 3 blue mana while also getting the other colors that we need and not getting shut out by Blood Moon. Fortunately, Blood Moon doesn't hurt this deck a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, it shuts off our sagas, but we can still lock the opponent out. I've won games with moons on the board. I think there's a replay actually of me doing that recently. Um, so that's the main deck. The sideboard, I am going all in with, well, not, I shouldn't say all in. I am going heavy on surgicals in the side for more, the graveyard-based matchups or the combo-based matchups. Um, three Soulless Jailers, because they all help with the Cascade matchups and again with graveyard stuff going on. Additionally, they are 0/4s and they do block, which is extremely useful. I have one additional needle in the side to supplement the two that I have in the main for a lot of the matchups that use the activated abilities, like a lot of planeswalkers or whatever. I do have one welding jar, and I think I might go up to a second. I'm not quite sure yet. It seems that people are not running Oof as much recently, and they're not running Stony Silence as much recently, so that makes Welding Jar a little bit stronger, especially with people doing the what was that, Force of Vigor, I think it is, um, and with what was that that land's name, the new Boseiju. Three ley lines in the side. I still prefer 3/4 because if you do 4, it's taking up an extra sideboard slot and you get diminishing returns, and they get stuck in your hand pretty easily unless you get a cookbook out. Um, the questionable card here is Prismatic Ending. I have found that I don't use that very often. More often than not, I just don't even side it in because a lot of the games that I want to side it in, I'm already pretty heavily favored, or I can't rely that I'm going to get the white mana quick enough for it to be relevant. And in that case, a lot of times it's just better as another trophy or something. I do also still have I'm putting two Grafdigger's Cages. A lot of that is for the decks that try to play cards off the top or from the library or, again, from the graveyard. It seems that graveyard shenanigans are extremely popular right now, with all the delirium and um, grabbing, you know, big an Archon out of the graveyard or something. And then another cookbook helps to drop the hand size quicker if we need, and it helps a little bit with the burn matchup. It's only one card that we're sacrificing in the sideboard to devote a little bit more um, to the burn matchup if we need to find a cookbook real quick. Um, like I said, the thing I'm not quite sure about is this prismatic ending. I might end up changing that to something else. Not quite sure yet what that's going to be. I'm open to suggestions, however. So this is it. I'm sure that it can probably be improved upon. I am be more than happy to hear any suggestions for improvements. But it seems to be working decently so well. There are a lot of uh, very intricate plays that are required that I found with this. Largely, I mean, it's too too difficult to say you should play this way every single time because the correct line always depends on the information that we have on what the opponent has and what they have in hand. So that will constantly change. But yeah, hopefully the videos help a little bit in reestablishing Lantern as a competitive deck. I do think that it has strong potential to get back to where it once was, mostly thanks to the Urza Saga. I've won a few games now beating down with Saga tokens. So even if I don't get a bridge, the Saga tokens still do a ton of work, and the Saga itself helps establish a lock when we need to. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this helps answer some of the questions.